If you are losing more than you win on trading, if you feel inconsistent, if you feel some anxiety and sometimes some hesitation while you are trading, this video is for you. And we just need a paper and a pen to illustrate this. I know it's not very fancy. You won't see my supercars. I'm just a normal dude like you are. So the problem, I think the main key problem on why you are inconsistent and why you have hesitations and why you can't see more wins than losses, like you see more losses than winning, okay, is because you trade your mind. It can be also your emotions. It goes all together. And this is where it's the main problem. When you trade your mind, your brain is constantly perceiving danger. And that's what you want to fight as a trader. I do trading for now 11 years, and it took me a lot of failure and slap in the face to understand this. But instead, you should mind. I don't know if I did the right word play, but whatever. I'm French, so excuse my French, I will say. You should mind your trades, meaning that you should have a plan and acquire knowledge in your trading to stop having emotional withdrawal, roller coaster results, and stuff like this. How do you do this? It's to have a plan. There's different plan for different personality, and that's what I wanted to explain you here. This is what I teach, for example, on my program. This is what I share on my YouTube for a long time, on the community for 9 years. So this is really important. First, know that the market is here. When you look at the market, the charts is just going ups and downs, right? And you have candles and stuff like that. All the interpretation you have through it, through indicators, through the different levels, through the different things you have, are just human-made, okay? That it's humans that told you there are key levels here, and we saw that there is a pattern here, and some of them are more famous than others. But all of this is made by someone else to tell you, and you think this is a rule by itself in trading, while actually the best trading plan is through your ideal plan. Are you a dad with 2 kids, a full-time job? Are you a student? Are you an entrepreneur? All of this, you will need to adapt it to your ideal plan. And the market doesn't care of your plan. So it's better that you adapt the market towards your life than the inverse, okay? Then, and the nice thing is that we have different time frames, we have different ways of trading. We can be completely conventional and completely unconventional and still succeed as long as you have a plan. But what you need to make sure once you have your ideal plan, so something that fits you, something that will be really resonating with you and fun, is to check your personality. And for this is that you just need to understand and acknowledge you a bit better. For example, we have a book. I don't think it's the best book, but The Mental Age in Trading by Jason Williams is a good way to understand how you adapt your personality traits, okay, for trading. And what they do here, you don't even need to buy the book, is that they are talking about psychiatric and brain and trading in the same time, and showing that basically every trait of personality can fit to trading. So what I will advise you to do is that if you go on ChatGPT, for example, or any AI, you ask to have a NEO-PIR test to know what kind of scores you get. And actually, and you can say that it's from the mental age in trading. ChatGPT will know exactly what kind of test, so that's a good thing to use AI for. And then you can understand what type of thing do you know. I simple down according to my humble experience, so just take it like this, it's my experience, my opinion, as 2 main things in terms of personality. I think we have 2 types of personality, and we have one that is more dominant than the other. So this one, I called it the manager. Because if you choose this path, it is about managing everything. So are you a manager? Or the other one, I called it set and forget. I don't know why I called it like this. Maybe just for the sell-up type. But these are two personalities that you are, okay? This is, for me, the minority. This is the majority. Even me, after 11 years, I still fit here. And I don't plan to be perfect or whatever. I'm just good here. That's my best bet. I did this for quite a long time, but it cost me a lot of stress. What is a manager? A manager is, for example, a trader like Al Brooks. You have traded tons who are really like known traders doing this type of things, reading candles to candles, but their strategy are highly nuanced by different components. The bars, the levels, the EMA, the whatever. They have so much nuance, but when they trade, there is a variation, okay, of risk and reward. For them, it works because they do so much work into it. There is the health, they are taking care of their mental health, their body health, about also they document like crazy, okay, doc and backtest. If you look at, for example, the data of the Trader Tom, he has tons of documentation and he keeps documenting. Al Brooks has a huge encyclopedia of all these things. So, like, it's insane the amount of knowledge they have. Like, it's almost academical in a level of thesis, really. And for me, for example, it doesn't really fit. Because the thing is that despite your life, you will need to have a full focus, okay? Because you really need to be disciplined in your brain. You will need to have focusing on your health. So I call this the health hustling. You need to go, work out, take care of your brain, take care of what you eat, take care of every single thing. That for me is great in the picture, but I learned that this is not the reality for many, many of us. Also, we need to accept that there is more break even, I call this, but technically it's more more unpredictability of result in your trade. So therefore there is much more fluctuation. Or you might think that I don't sell it very much. This is because it doesn't fit me. But if it's something that you like, it can be really a killer in terms of like when you hear in the good days, in the good moment of the market, you can really make an amazing result. And that's the nice thing about it. But instead, also let me just take off my, so when you go to A, you can either go to B, so it's A or B or C, okay? Then here will be A to B, okay? And then, like I said, the problem of all this is that you will need knowledge for your brain to not perceive danger and to fight the anxiety. That's my whole program, for example, where people don't teach, right? It's not like I'm selling you my program, like you are free to do whatever. But what I'm teaching, for example, is that if you give knowledge to your brain will most likely 80% of the time take off all the problem that you are having psychologically in your trading, because you give it knowledge through documentation and backtest, okay? And you do this mathematically, that it makes sense. Like this, you have ultimate proof for your brain that it works. So the thing is that if you will want to be all this while having still your brain not eating up and burning out, you will need a heavy, but when I mean heavy, it's like crazy and highly amount and nuanced also documentation, okay? So for example, let's say that you will start to document a pullback that will come back to the previous low in a bearish situation. But if you add up a certain confluence, like maybe the weak will be the half and so on. All those nuances will be needed to be documented. And the more R you are adding, the more risk reward you are adding, the more documentation you will need to do for your brain to be linked to what you are aiming as a result. Of course, for example, in the book of Mental Age in Trading, they will teach you the typical where you need to be uncomfortable and comfortable with the uncomfort and so on. But you will see that when you are in years and when you are trading, it's like this in years of negative, of where it's harder than others, you sometimes wish that you would have documented more for your brain to understand that nothing is wrong. You just need to be patient in your setups and in your plan. So this is a minority of people. And I think most of us are here and will thrive much better here in trading. Because why set and forget is better? It's because you will look for a mechanical setup. So let's say that you will decide a fixed RR, okay, that will allow you to document in a much easier way than all this, because there will be so much nuances and so much different strategies and setup here. When here you look for one setup with one fixed RR, and then you can directly document and backtest exactly like the other one, okay? But the nice thing is that you don't have to think too much. It can adapt to any lifestyle, right? And it can be a good start. All you need to do is to find a setup that wins more than it loses. So, for example, you could do a low RR, okay? If you look for low RR to start with, you are in a great spot here because you don't have a lot of document and backtest to prove it works. And therefore, you can start to really work on your trades quite quickly. So what it does, even though it can be uncomfortable at the beginning, but if you do those two things, doc and backtest in the good number according to your risk reward, your brain, you will need to repeat to your brain, listen, I have the documentation, I have a backtest, I just need to set my orders and let it go. And then your brain will be scared and perceive danger at the beginning, but very quickly will take off all the anxiety to this. Why? It's because when you set and forget, you don't need any attention, okay? For example, right now I'm trading a bit more on NQ. I just look at exactly the high and the low broken in one swing, take my Fibonacci, put my order, and I'm done, you know? And it's really easy to set, you know? That should be easy to set. So that's why, for example, pullbacks with Fibonacci that you can see on my videos are really the best strategy for set and forget in my opinion. And once you put everything, you just need to wait. So at first you will be like, okay, you will think about it and you will try to manage it, but you just need to leave the room and do something else. And the nice thing is that it's easier in general, okay, but it will also give you more consistency, easy, without to be too disciplined, okay? But the easier and consistent growth is much easier to get this as a normal person than to go here. Here, you are going for a full thesis, doctorate, whatever you call this, master degree, bachelor degree. You need to go through all this before becoming good. Here, you can be a dropout of college and still make it. And that's the nice thing. And also, it's very easy compared to here, is that it goes to A to B. A is my setup. I need to put the orders, and then I'm good. And the nice thing with this documentation compared to here, where you will have a heavy and nuanced documentation, which in the end, if you do it, you will have a very good book. Look at the size of the books of Al Brooks, for example. It's amazingly big, and it's great for him because now he is in a place where nothing is a mystery to him. But let's be realistic here for most of us, is that here you can do your documentation under what? Some weeks. If you look for 1-to-1 R, you know, it's hundreds that you will need. You will need hundreds of samples, like for a one-to-one situation. And let's say you are at 75-80% win rate, you already have a strategy that you can set and forget and bring in your life and include in your life without changing much. So I think for me, that's the main thing. Like, this is most of us. And here it's a small part. Okay. I will think that we are 80% here, 20% here. And the thing here will require a lot of experience, and here less experience. You can be a beginner and still achieve this in a quite short time. If I will redo it, instead of trying to be this for so many years, I will go here. And the funny thing is that with the experience, I'm still here, and I rather like this because it gives me much more freedom. So I hope this was helpful, and I wish you a good trading journey, and I'll see you on the next video.